My name's Chris.
And I'm Christy.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and it's Biscuit Week, which is always...
delightful.
Yeah, we all love biscuit. No, we don't. Look, it's traditionally one of the poorer weeks.
And you know, living up to...
the Kiwi Bake Off, it's...
even poorer.
Look,
It's its poorer cousin. It's so poor, it's in debtor's prison. It's in the debtor's prison.
It's the one that we got out of in Canada.
Yes.
What I felt really bad for them, though, is that, like, it's always a bad week. No one really ever likes Biscuit Week because there's only so many things you can do with biscuits. I mean, the good side for them was, you know, on air they only needed 2 of them. Now, obviously, there is a third challenge we'll get to later, and what a doozy that was.
Oh, it was horrendously hilarious.
Oh, wasn't it? But more importantly, the ones that they put on air...
the brown crisp biscuit in Signature 1, as Gabby pointed out, followed by the brown crisp biscuit in...
So the showstopper and the technical were both brown crisp...
I can't even remember.
No, well,
technical,
if you remember, the signature was very different.
Yes.
So we got to hear the word busket a lot, which was fantastic.
No, it's fantastic.
Now, you say it better than I can.
I learnt it when I watched Heavenly Creatures growing up.
And it's how you do it.
And that movie made me realise that I also liked girls, and so I was obsessed with Kate Winslet.
Look, for me, the highlight of this whole watching of Kiwi Bake Off...
It's not us who are crazy, it's everyone else who are bonkers.
My highlight of watching this whole series of Kiwi Bake Off is this.
My brother.
It's Christy's Kiwi accent, and in particular, when she says fantastic.
It's fantastic.
I love it.
That's probably really shit.
It has crept into our daily life, by the way. Like, the one thing from this show that has crept into daily life is on the phone, Christy will say, "That's fantastic," and I'll stop.
And I'm like, oh, sorry.
And I'll make her say
fantastic.
that. So we got the judges at the start, and they didn't do anything horrible.
It was okay.
It was passable.
It was a passable opener.
And they just listed a pile of biscuits.
Yeah.
That was...
yeah, it was fine.
That was fine.
Inoffensive.
And on reflection, their high point.
Yeah.
On reflection, it was the best moment of the show. So the technical
for the hosts,
yes,
the bakers, different.
The
story.
bakers were working so hard to get personality out. I'm just going to say it straight up front. Jeff, like the personality that man was exuding tonight, and Clayton, both
could
of those
only be
two,
dampened by shit editing.
Oh yeah, we'll come to that in a minute where they fucked poor Jeff over, but it's okay. Jeff had the last laugh.
Yes.
By winning. So let's get into it. So the technical. Now Dean said that his advice was to just be delicate.
And then it was inferred that that's how he is with a woman.
No, well, then it was inferred that they don't actually know how he is with a woman, but maybe he's like that with a woman. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, because that was worthwhile.
Not awkward at all.
It wasn't weird. And, you know, actually, I finally...
The laughs were worth it. Oh, wait.
I worked out tonight, by the way, worked out what is so off-putting about the thing.
What?
So, when Matt and Maggie walk out, or when Bruno and Rochelle walk out, or when
Prue
and Paul walk out, they don't walk out the side door.
They walk out the back.
They go out the back and, like, they vanish.
Yeah.
It's like the judges are visiting and they're like, bye, everybody, and walk out the side door.
Just go for it.
So you can see them walk away because they're walking through, like, a glass side door. It's so off-putting.
Yeah, until... like, you know, one day they get a hot day in the cabana. And as they're walking out, you just see Dean and Sue strip off and then go bomb into the pool.
Into the pool. As long as the mammoths haven't drained it this week. But, yeah, I worked it out.
Triggers her, what's it called? Floaties to inflate.
Dean's jumper is actually a life preserver. Yeah, Dean's jumper is actually a life preserver. Anyway, but no, I finally worked it out tonight. They walked out the side door, and it is one of the most awkward things I've ever seen.
It's like when you're out with mates and you don't know where everyone's parked. You might be at, like, the local shopping centre, gone to the movies finished, you've had a lovely night, and you're like, oh, see, it's so good we should catch up soon. Yeah, we don't ever spend enough time together. And then you start walking towards the same car park.
And you're very awkward because you've just said goodbye and it feels like the night is over.
And it's like, do you just shun them? Is it now time to just shun your friends?
I always accelerate.
Like, oh dear.
I'm always like 3 or 4 paces ahead, and then I pretend that I'm branching off when like we might be parked next to each other and I didn't notice.
You know, you're my bestest friend 5 seconds ago till I said goodbye. And now you do not exist to me.
I said good day.
You are dead to me.
So anyway, we got as far as Dean. We didn't even say what the technical was. It was 10 Belgian biscuits.
10 Belgian biscuits, 3 Danish
Which
cookies.
we were told are quite common in every bakery.
I have to hit up my New Zealand friends and find out.
I've never heard of the fucking things.
They just look like little boobs. That's what I thought they were, little pink
They
boobies.
looked like someone had taken TikToks and wedged 2 of them together with some jam.
On the clock.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw it. I just thought they've taken TikToks and wedged them together and put jam in the middle.
Are TikToks the one that have the sprinkles on top though?
No, that's hundreds and thousands.
Oh.
TikToks are the ones with that look like a clock on one side and the other side is pink icing.
Yes, that's right. My nephew loved them. Okay,
So,
yes, they
again,
are TikToks.
They've got TikToks and they've put them
TikTok with some jam and some sugar on top of Danish Belgian biscuits.
That is exactly what Kesha originally wrote.
Yeah, until, you know, that fucked up producer came in and said,
No, we're not going to do
no
that.
ode to biscuits.
No ode to biscuits. Anyway, moving on.
Sorry, that was a really shit.
Before we make a couple of really nasty, well, not nasty comments, but accurate comments about a fucktard of a producer. Moving on.
Moving on.
So, Sonali,
Moving right along.
they had an hour 15 to do this. Sonali said there are only 2 things that she knows about Belgium. And I didn't catch what the second one was because you went, that's exactly what I would have said for the first one. Of course, we were referring to...
Hercule Poirot.
Which Brazilian on Twitter also commented on.
Yes.
And then Mike and everyone was commenting on that. They were like, that's what they know of. I automatically...
Except I'm for the Peter Ustinov era.
Yeah, see, I automatically go to Sandra Kim. Now...
Why?
Now,
from Eurovision.
Now, Sandra Kim is a Belgian Eurovision artist. More importantly, Sandra Kim is the reason why the Eurovision rules were changed because she entered singing a song called Jamais la vie, I Love Life.
Jamais la vie.
Babysitters Club. If you listen to it, it sounds like the Babysitters Club. She's singing about how much she loves life. Turns out they pretended that she was 16 or 17. She was 14 or 15. Yeah, 14.
Oh, she's young, yeah.
Yeah, she was really young, so they changed the rules so you must be over 16
And
to
her
enter.
producer groomed her, is that right? Or
No.
manager? Or am I thinking of someone else?
Someone else, I think.
Oh, Celine Dion. Sorry.
Yeah, that was a different one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was awkward and very weird. And that was automatically where my head went with Belgium, is it went to Sandra Kim. You went Poirot, and, look, probably a better call, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Is Inspector Rex Belgian? I think he's... Might be. Anyway.
We'll find out. Someone's going to tweet us, probably Gabby.
Gabby will do it and give us the history of the show.
FFS, guys. Inspector X is German. How can you mix up German and Belgium?
How dare you do that? Anyway, well, hey, many wars. No.
All I knew Belgium as when I was younger is the land of chocolate.
It is the land of chocolate. As opposed to the Netherlands, which is the land of clogs and dikes. And as Julie McCrossan once said, how do you clog a dike? With your finger. Moving on. So no one seemed to know how these things looked, except Stacey, who proudly proclaimed, "These are my boyfriend's favourite." And unlike normal when someone talks about that,
Yeah.
Stacey actually knew exactly what she was doing the whole time. And when they got to the end of the judging and Stacey wins the challenge, she looks down the camera and goes, I make these all the time. Like...
Well, they're like little pink boobies, really. Like they're just
that was the thing where they were
pale pink little sugary nipple.
They did look very boob-like.
Particularly like with the little specks of sugar. It was like real areola type.
They were real areola type. That's what they ask for when you want to find out if they're genuine or fake Belgian biscuits. I want real areola types.
No, the way you can tell is one is filled with jam, the other is filled with silicone.
Always spot a fake Belgian biscuit. There was no real instruction on the dough. It just said make a dough, which,
All right.
sure, fine. I did like Hannah, who said, if you've never made these before, you'd be stuck. And her response was, and I've made them before.
And I'm stuck.
I mean, Hannah had a brilliant second challenge, but this one wasn't her greatest.
Well, not when very few bakers had a good challenge.
Really only one. So
Joel really didn't.
Jeff and Clayton were in Waldorf and Stadler
mode. Yes, they're in
full
position,
position, up the back. And Joel was a bit like their personal assistant. If you looked at it tonight, the guys were all at the back.
Yep.
Like, now I don't know if this is the cool kids sitting at the back of the room or what was the mentality. But they were all at the back benches. Are they there to help Joel?
Probably.
I mean, it didn't really work.
Maybe Sue was a little worried that Joel was not doing as well as he could. So
I think the problem is tonight we saw Joel again tried desperately to go home.
He's like...
And once again, fate conspired. Like, he's trying.
He is.
Next week he's just going to burn the damn thing down.
He's going to build a Notre Dame. Too soon?
Not soon enough. Anyway, now there was a random sponge in the middle of the recipe. Just random. Now, apparently they said that it was a substitute for flour during World War One.
Well, Marie Antoinette first came up with that idea, apparently.
Well, my comment was that it was
no bread, let them have cake.
My comment was that it was much like Belgium was a substitute for a doormat to France for the Germans in World War One. Too soon?
Not soon enough.
Too soon? Anyway, now, what worried me about this was they all started talking about just leave the sponge out. It's a technical.
Yeah, probably. It's not quite like IKEA furniture where a few extra parts are thrown in for shits and giggles.
Now...
Or for backup, really.
My question... That reminds me, I said the Brooklyn Nine-Nine joke where Terry's trying to build the...
the Princess Castle.
Princess Castle. There's a bolt with
3 screws.
And
it has wheels.
What sort of castle has wheels? Now, a genuine question. Was Annabelle told tonight to sort of throw challenges?
I think she probably just did that to herself. Like, I think it's a real, example of how when a young woman knows she's good but doesn't want to be ousted because, she doesn't want to be, like, tall poppy syndromed out of the cool group,
She makes 16 biscuits as opposed to 20.
Yeah, she's like, oh, how did that happen?
And I mean, the thing was, it was quite obvious she was going to have problems because if she only had enough dough to do 16 biscuits and the dough makes 20...
Yeah.
You've probably made your biscuits too thick, which she did.
I'm also interested because she apparently makes them for her dad, who these are his favourite biscuits.
So, obviously she knows what she's doing. I kind of felt...
Her dad likes them thick, not delicate.
I kind of felt like
she's like, give me don't give me a delicate one, I want a thick one.
A thick one.
Really get my teeth into it.
I kind of feel like, that she not necessarily threw it, but she was trying to, turn attention away from herself by just being a bit mediocre, still making them taste good so she wasn't going to go home because the flavour would be good. But middle of the pack, so she didn't win another challenge, and that was sort of what she was trying to do.
But let's move along.
Because we got to the highlight of the whole episode, Jeff.
Yep.
Who sang the Do-Re-Mi song about beer. Now, I've heard this before, and Jeff's rendition is the best one I've ever heard.
It was well put together.
It was wonderful. His delivery was spectacular. There was personality.
It was in tune.
And then the editing, he finished the song. And
it was funny.
They all fucking deadpanned him. And they were like, yeah, thanks. And just went back to what they were doing. And Jeff's just standing there like...
I sang for you.
What the fuck?
I gave you something that these hosts can't provide.
Yeah, Jeff was providing great detail and great input. I loved it. I thought it was great because it was finally a moment where they gave a baker some time to work on personality. Yeah. And they didn't put the hosts in the middle of it.
No, but a host was a punctuation mark at the end and it just sucked the life right out of it.
Destroyed the joke. Joel then... Oh, Joel. So they got
Joel's like, I really want to fucking go home.
They got to the icing, and Joel, in such a Joel way, just goes, I guess the icing's red.
It's red dye.
Thanks, Joel. You're a thinker. And then Stacey actually came over and explained to him in a technical how to make the technical.
Yeah, that's fine. And he's like, fuck off, Stacey. I'm trying to throw this. It's about time I leave this place.
Don't tell me, all right? I'm trying to work out a way.
She goes, but Sue slipped me $50 to make sure that you...
Yeah, it kind of felt tonight like there were people being thrown at Joel, trying to save him. And, like, he just kept on pushing them away and going, no, don't do it.
I've got a rugby event in Liechtenstein I need to get to.
I'm trying to get to Liechtenstein. You won't let me go. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but I noticed this at one point during the biscuit baking, because, I mean, look, there wasn't that much to the challenge. Larissa was randomly dancing behind everybody with an icing knife. Just randomly.
Was it a palette icing palette?
It was the icing palette knife. It was just waving it around. That was at the same time she was standing and fighting over the microwave. I assume actually they weren't fighting over the microwave. She was standing there with Annabelle. Annabelle was trying to make sure that everything was ready with her icing and her dough because she needed to do the extra.
You know what that is? And white girl hacker.
It was.
She was trying to intimidate.
Must have been. And more importantly, Larissa was just checking, I think, to make sure the microwave is still going. That's why she was there. After her repair job, she's thorough.
She is.
Look, if you ever get something repaired by Larissa, it's thorough.
It is. She's there, checking up on it.
You know, we've got things around the house that need fixing. Larissa, if you're ever in Australia, in Miscellaneous City, pop in. Meanwhile, Joel and Identical, not a thing. No, not a thing. They came over and they're looking at the biscuits at one point, and like everyone's looking at his biscuits, and he's like, "Identical? No, I'm not gonna
Look, I'm surprised he didn't have a trapezoid cutter. You know that he was just
plan is based off the trapezoid. And then, more important, they finish the challenge, and Joel just looks at Clayton and goes, "Well, that's me, last." Sonali goes, "Hold my beer." So the judging.
Well, I don't think Sonali said hold my beer, but I've got a theory, and we'll come to that later.
We'll come to that in a minute. So, Larissa was a bit light in colour and it was underbaked, but there was a good shape and flavour. So was it good or was it... No.
It matters not.
Stacey, they said, was nice colour, good icing, good crunch, near perfect. Jeff, they said, had too much icing and too much filling, but good flavour. So again, was it too much or too... Yeah. Annabelle's was 25% too thick, but was good colour.
Yep.
Joel's were candy-coloured, so as opposed to the other pink ones, which were apparently subtle. I don't know. Too much pink. They were uneven. There was too much filling. And then they said, baked nicely. Sure. Why not? Like, you've just listed everything that's wrong with them.
You're trying to make sense of the judges. Let's not do that.
I'm working on it.
It will just make our ears bleed.
They said that
brains fall out of our nose.
Hannah's had good colour icing and a bit soft. Now, what worried me about this, they've already said that Stacey's were near perfect. Then they got to Hannah's and they went, this is getting closer to what we're after. Now we're finally getting there. And poor Stacey must be standing there going,
what the fuck am I?
You fucking said mine were perfect.
Chopped liver. Yeah.
And then Clayton's, they had good colour and they said there was a lot of jam and then there was too much sugar. Sure, why not? And Sonali, there was a big sigh.
Yeah.
Then they said that you should have rotated your tray and that they were overcooked badly. So, of course, that means Sonali came last in the... No, wait.
No.
Joel came last.
Yep.
Sonali came second last, despite the fact she burnt every single one of them.
Yeah.
Then Jeff, for no real reason. Then Annabelle, for, again, not much of a reason. Annabelle actually should have been below Jeff because hers were too thick. Hannah, Clayton, Larissa, and a mile clear of everybody else, Stacey. I was a bit concerned, though. I mean, it was good to see them being encouraging to poor Larissa, but, like, Larissa second and everyone applauded robustly like she just won Star Baker.
Look, they'll just play... They're still congratulating her over the microwave.
It was the microwave, yeah. I thought it had to be because it was the only thing it could be. And then Joel apologised to Belgium.
Yeah, good on you, Joel. He's like, sorry, Belgium.
Sorry, Belgium, that was me. That's on me.
That's on me.
All right, and then we got to the showstopper.
Yep.
Now, the showstopper was a landmark biscuit.
Haven't seen that before.
No, I've never seen...
Hashtag bell tower.
Never seen that before, I know. And then you could make any biscuit you wanted. any biscuit you wanted to do. Why you would do anything other than gingerbread baffles me. And you had to have a personal connection. Now, some people took that far too literally. Sonali will come to you in a minute. It wasn't a good day for Sonali.
No.
All right, so let's start. So Clayton made the beehive, which is their parliament.
Yep.
And he was going to do all this, like, the coloured edible paper, and it was always
very whimsical.
Always a bit optimistic, I felt.
Jude's Canadian whimsy finally made it across.
It made it to Clayton. And if anyone was going to pick up the whimsy and run with it,
it's Clayton.
Joel wasn't using gingerbread because, of course, not.
It's like, fuck you.
Now, I'm
a rebel.
There were only two people that refused point blank to use gingerbread. It was Joel and Sonali.
Yep.
It showed. Now...
No, Joel's he won. He saved himself.
Oh no! I'm okay. I had a really big problem with Joel's.
Why? I think it's great.
It was Lego bricks.
Yeah.
It wasn't. The idea behind it is a structure that supports itself. He literally stacked biscuits on top of each other.
It's a structure. It supported itself. Brief fulfilled. Next.
It looked like biscuit bars. And she goes, oh, it's definitely a biscuit. No. It's a biscuit bar, which is more like a cake.
Yeah, but she said, now it might look like a cake, but it's a cookie dough. And it's not that Sue's covering up for anyone, but you know. Yeah.
It was about 5 centimetres thick.
You're offered a normal chocolate chip cookie, or that. What are you picking?
The cookie over the biscuit.
Why?
And not a biscuit, not a biscuit, I mean the biscuit cake. It was a cake. He made mini biscuit bars, which are cakes.
Oh, let's not worry about it. It's just like...
No, because we need to worry about it because this becomes very important when we get to the next one, which is Sonali, who also made cookie dough.
Yep.
But the difference was that Sonali decided she was going to make a structure out of cookie dough.
Oh, dear.
Don't do that. Ever. Now, okay, so some people are going to...
As my nephew would say,
Some people are going to suggest that I'm about to be really harsh on Sonali. And my response to you is tough. Sonali discussed when she was younger seeing birds making birds' nests.
Don't.
And she said that they were made with such love and care. At which point she burst into tears about the love and care that birds show when they build a bird's nest.
She's talking about about
I know
a home with love.
I know it's about making a home with love, but it's a fucking bird's nest. And then above all that, she made a birdhouse.
Yes.
If the nest was so good, they didn't need a fucking house, did they?
No, she could have made a structure, a birdhouse structure.
Like she made a birdhouse.
Bird nest. Sorry.
She made a birdhouse, but if the nest was made with so much love and care, you don't need a birdhouse.
She could have made like a tree that stood up like a 3D tree with a little nest in it.
In hindsight, when everything falls apart later on, and I know that might be a spoiler to some of you. But when the birdhouse... Look, I'm not even going to say collapsed. When the birdhouse disintegrated into the remnants of biscuit dough...
You know what happened? Thanos.
It was, really.
Every second biscuit structure.
The bird evaporated in the middle.
He started with biscuit structures before going to every second living being.
So when they were all holding the birdhouse and it was just disintegrating, it didn't collapse, it just disintegrated.
Yeah.
She should at that point have just made a fucking bird's nest.
Yep.
Like, just stack it up as a bird's nest.
Squish them together into an egg ball.
Would have been good enough.
Put an egg in there.
But I couldn't get over the fact she sobbed uncontrollably over a birdhouse.
Hey, look, some of us get a bit hormonal and get a bit emotional about things, you know.
Like a birdhouse?
We were at the wedding on Saturday and I saw which runners were being used as the carpet for the aisle to walk up against, and I recognised them, and it really brought me, like, to tears about it, that these simple hallway runners were being used for something so beautiful. But
there's a strong connotation for you with those, as opposed to a bird's nest, which, by the way, the birds aren't...
childhood
The birds
things to
aren't
Maui.
making the nest with love. The birds are making the nest out of self-fucking preservation.
And spit, usually. I
And
believe
spit.
it's
They regurgitate a lot. They vomit. It's not even spit, it's vomit.
Oh, there we go.
They use vomit to hold it together. So she's sobbing over birds throwing up and then putting their children in vomit.
Look,
It's going well. Anyway,
works for Gwyneth Paltrow.
you know what?
What?
Vomit might have helped the structure. Anyway, it might have. I'm not joking. So Hannah made a shortbread and gingerbread lighthouse.
It looked phenomenal.
It was where her husband proposed, and they did not focus on Hannah at all.
No, which was a shit because she actually produced something
And then when they got to the
with
judging,
2 types of biscuits.
and it was a fucking amazing lighthouse.
Yeah.
It was stunning, and they barely showed Hannah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. She deserved a lot more airtime.
She did. Jeff made the Eiffel Tower.
Also stunning.
It was stunning. They did focus on him, but that was because I think they just wanted to speak in bad French.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been there. I mean, you in particular with Canadian Bake Off
Oui.
have been in your bad French face.
Bonjour.
Sorry, your amazing French face, because
Yes, it is.
you're the queen of accents. We know this.
Je ne sais
Now,
pas
at this point,
pourquoi.
Joel's mother obviously had a bit of a... I mean, Sue. I'm not saying mother, that's not a thing. But obviously had a bit of a word because Joel turns around to the camera and goes, "Oh, I've forgotten my most important part, my chocolate chips." At which point that allowed them to do a pan down to the Donovan's chocolate chips. 5 bags, different types.
Maybe he's getting a kickback from them. They're like, oh, look, if you can just use our product a bit more, we'll help you with your rugby trip. He's going to have Donovan's choc chips sponsoring his socks.
Possibly. Then we got to, well, one of your favourite parts of this whole thing.
Yes.
Stacey.
She was magnificent.
You know why Stacey was magnificent?
She made the Invercargill water tower.
Invercargill represent. Yeah. I'd like to think that she got all that 70s show about it, and that's why it was so important to her. That she used to climb up to the top of the water tower and get high. Last week. And that was...
And then she mentioned, then there's all this earthquake stuff happened, you can't do that anymore. I can't go climbing on it. It's a shame. But it looked fantastic, and it was structurally sound. And again, didn't focus a lot on her.
No, we didn't see a lot of her. Annabelle. Now, Annabelle...
proved me right and confirmed she went to a private school.
Yeah, Christy all the way along has been saying, I bet she went to a private school.
She just has that look, that waif look of a private school girl. And that's not a, that's
not a knock.
That's not a knock. She just has that very conscientious look of she went to a school.
Which had a private chapel.
Yes.
And it did, and she made her high school chapel. Now, my favourite part of her making the high school chapel was when she put the light inside it and a rave started up. That was cool.
I thought it was the Easter rave.
Easter rave, obviously.
Raving for Jesus.
You know what the good part about an Easter rave is?
It goes to 3 days.
Yeah, you resurrect after 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, you're out for 3 days, and 3 days later, out of bed. Now...
A few communion wafers, off you go.
Larissa made Lanark Castle. Now, I went and looked up Lanark Castle.
Yes.
It's a highly complex structure. It's huge in Dunedin. But she wasn't making the whole thing.
No, just 3 sides of it.
And Dean's like, isn't the point to make the full structure? And she's like, oh no. And I'm like, but Dean set the challenge.
Yeah. And they focused a lot on her being possibly in trouble. We may as well just talk about it, right?
Let's get it out of the way, shall we?
All right, so she's making this structure, which is quite intricate. She's getting to the piping, which has been pointed out is going to be like the be-all and end-all of...
It's very thin royal icing.
Yep, doing all the details of this castle. And we have 2 hosts singing a really unfunny song.
About piping.
Which made Larissa laugh and completely threw her off her game.
They kept basically stopping her.
It was...
the judges the hosts in that case, it was... Look, I've said this a few times, and I do mean it genuinely. Madeline Sammy in particular, in everything else that she's in...
Fantastic.
...is great. Like, her writing's really good.
She's not suited to this. Yeah.
She, more than Hayley, she feels like she's got nothing to do. So she just seems to, like, interfere. And there is a way to do the joking around with the bakers, and there is a time to do it. And there's a time to be annoying and irritating when they're not doing something highly technical and highly complex. And she doesn't seem to know that. There are a couple of other moments where she went around and, like, got in the middle of a really complex part of the bake. When Stacey was about to put the top on, we'll get to that now. So Stacey's about to put the top on her structure, and Madeline decides that it looks like a penis.
Now, I am all for pointing out things that look like peni, right?
Look, she does this all the time. It's kind of a hobby.
I will pick out a penis-shaped thing from like a mile off. I looked at it and went, it's more boob-shaped, but even then, bit of a stretch.
It was a flat dome.
It was a flat dome. It wasn't really...
It wasn't penis-shaped.
No, I'm thinking, maybe it goes on top, but
the problem for me about that was she was about to pick it up.
To put it on top.
To put it on top of the building. And it's a really crucial point of the bake where you're trying to work out if this is going to sit or not.
Yeah.
And she's in there just, like, fucking around. No, go away.
I realise what it is. The other hosts have the ability to throw humour in at the correct time to lift energy and to motivate. Madeline goes in at the incorrect time and pulls energy and pulls focus.
Yep.
And that is shit.
It's a problem. And again, we've said this a few times in the whole series so far. The contestants are being hurt by the way it's being hosted. It's not helping them at all.
No.
And look, we'll get to it in a minute, but I thought Hayley did a few things tonight that were actually quite good.
Yeah, there were moments where I'm like, oh, Hayley is...
When she wasn't there with Maddie, it was better.
She had this beautiful energy, and it was almost Claire-like. Like, I was feeling that kind of, that kind of goofy but
supportive.
But supportiveness.
Now, question before we get to a bit more of that. Why is Sonali burning everything? Now, we're going to come to your reasoning why.
Okay.
But my question before we get to your reason, because I think your reason's correct.
Yeah.
They've raised in the first challenge maybe there's an oven issue. Now, if they raised that there may be an oven issue, shouldn't you check her oven?
Yep, see where the hot spots are.
Because everything she put into the oven burnt.
Yep.
Now, you have a different theory, and I think it rises off the back of my next comment, which simply says, and again this week, Joel gives no shits.
Yep, Joel gives no shits. He's throwing things left, right, front and centre. And Sue's noticing this, and she's like, I don't have scope to go in and fix his bakes, but what I do have is the ability to sabotage. And so she just goes up before all the bakers arrive to a random oven and just jiggles it a bit to make it hotter.
Pulls the thermostat.
Yeah, just fucks with the thermostat. Makes it run hotter than what it actually is. Oh, the temperature gauge. She could, like, twist it around so it looks hotter than
what she does is she pulls the knob off, twists it, then puts the knob back on.
Yeah, so it's just incorrect.
It's always 20 degrees up.
Yeah.
Or maybe, because they're more modern ovens than that, maybe she's digitally doing it. Maybe she's got an app on her phone and she's turning it up. She's Bluetooth turning it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a Bluetooth cooker. And I can turn the cooker on from anywhere in the house. Maybe she's Bluetoothing the oven and turning Sonali's up.
She's a tech sabotage.
Burn.
It's Wiki Bakes.
Wiki Bakes. So Joel, at this point, then decided to do some sugar work. And nobody seemed more surprised that Joel was doing sugar work
than Joel.
It was like, I'm doing sugar work?
Yep.
Apparently. That's a thing. And he seemed stunned. Like, he genuinely seemed stunned. And then he took the sugar work, draped it over his stacked biscuit bars.
I was all for it.
And went, I'm done.
Done.
And wandered around.
Helping Clayton. He was helping Clayton.
Well, eventually he helped Clayton, but, like, Clayton was trying to find something because, like, he looked bored.
Yeah.
Then Larissa's biscuits fell. Slightly damaged, but they were okay. They came over to try to... The host came over to try to help her out, and she's like, don't. Just don't.
She's like, you fucked me, and here I am.
Then we got the bird house fall over. Now, they all, at this point, first of all, when it first collapsed, Hayley came over and was like, Sonali, I heard what's going on. So she tries to help her. Now, the problem was you can use too much icing. And Sonali, when it fell down the first time, it looked like there was just this pure wall of icing. So it was all lubricant.
Yeah, it was like bleeding down the wall.
And there was nothing rigid to hold on to. It was like icing on icing. That doesn't work.
No.
So that became a problem. So they decided more icing would do the trick. Because, of
Just
course.
throw some more oil on that fire.
And so so Hayley came over, and Hayley was there with Sonali, and they were trying to hold it together. And then Madeline came over and did actually help to hold it together. But there were three of them holding it, and you could just see the thing disintegrating into pieces.
Yeah.
It wasn't ever. There was no chance they could make that thing stand.
No, the cookie was crumbling.
You were watching the cookie fall in.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
And Sonali's saying to them, "It's falling apart, guys. It's done." And they're like, no, we can do this. And Sonali's like, "No, you don't understand. Like, the walls are actually coming off now."
Yeah.
And so she tried to put together a smaller one. As we sort of said, just make the fucking bird's nest you were talking about and be done with it. And then when they went time's up, they let go of the birdhouse. It fell.
Yeah.
And the thing was, you could see that Hayley was genuinely crestfallen for Sonali.
Yeah.
Because she went, and time's up, nobody breathe.
Or move.
But nobody decorate either.
Yeah.
All right, so Jeff.
Yeah.
They referred to it as an engineering joy, and
It was.
It was. It was visually just stunning.
You could tell it was the Eiffel Tower. There's no mistaking it.
Yeah, and the biscuit was really nice. Clayton, they said it looked good. They said it did kind of need the paper to make it, like, top it off, but they said the structure itself looked really good.
Yeah.
Joel, they said it was a bit simple and it was Legoed together.
Yeah.
Which it was.
It was.
Annabelle, now...
It looked fucking flawless.
The top of it was this beautiful blue roof. The window was incredible.
Yeah, it was flawless. It looked simple and well put together.
And Dean goes, a little bit basic. You know what would have made it pop was... It was fucking amazing, you dumbass.
He's like, more colour. You know?
It's a fucking solid blue roof.
Yeah, how much more colour do you want?
And the window was stained fucking glass.
And she's basing it on her school building, so obviously she knows what its features are.
No graffiti.
No graffiti. She goes to a private school. The graffiti is all in Latin and carved into, like, monuments.
Romane, go home. Now, Sonali had a great line where she went, "I don't want to drop it." She had a sense of humour about it.
Yeah.
Stacey, they just went, "It's pretty nice."
Okay. Stacey brought up her water tower, which was a 3-tiered structure. And a dome on top. Like, this is not a biscuit. Like,
it was pretty nice, Christy. Pretty nice.
Okay. What do I know? I'm not a fucking judge.
It's the highest compliment they can pay. It's pretty nice.
Nice, yeah.
They said that Larissa had clean lines and good piping and good flavour.
Yep.
And they said that Hannah's colours were really good and it looked great, and they loved the fact that she did 2 types of biscuit, which wasn't in the brief. But anyway. Yeah, it kind of felt tonight like they were trying to talk Annabelle down, so it wasn't a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Because they were like, "Oh, Annabelle,
but
biscuits weren't her friend." And I'm like, no, the first challenge wasn't really her friend, but the second challenge
was mightily her friend.
Bit different.
And I don't think Hannah got enough praise for her amazing, like, fucking lighthouse.
No, they just said the lighthouse was great, and then they moved on. So Star Baker was Jeff, and yay.
Yes. Woo, the spice flew.
That man is working so hard in that cabana.
Yes.
And then Sonali, of course, was going home, and you could almost hear poor Joel in his head going, "What the fuck do I have to do?
I've got 3 weeks to Liechtenstein.
I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here." Okay, so that was your show. Except,
yes,
I don't even know how we really describe what happened in the signature. Now the good news.
Yes.
They finally come into the modern decade.
We have it on a CD.
Yep.
Like a DVD, like a DVD.
Yep.
Not a Blu-ray, just the one that you can throw.
They burnt it. It's quite clearly burnt. It's written in Texter.
Yep.
On it.
Smudged. Wait for it to dry.
Signature.
Yeah.
I think it says signature. Maybe they wanted us to sign for it. Shit. Okay, I might have to find that out.
No, don't. Just in case.
So we watched and okay, so let me explain and set this up for you. They came in and people seemed a little bit confused before they even spoke.
Yeah.
It was a worry. And then they stepped up and Madeline was the one who introduced it, and she's like, so we want you to make a Kiwi classic for the signature.
Yeah, like, what's a Kiwi classic?
I'm thinking Anzacs at one point. I'm thinking that would have been perfect.
That would have been great.
You know,
fishing for this time of year with us all here
it would have worked wonderfully. Now I'm like, so they're going to do Anzac, that'd be great. And they're like, so we want you to make a Kiwi classic, something that every household knows and loves, the most famous biscuit in New Zealand, Dolrios.
Dolrios.
Yeah, that was the reaction.
Rio.
There was silence.
Absolute silence.
In the cabana.
It was daylight, but there were still crickets.
Then, in the distance...
Yep, mammoth call.
You heard the mammoth.
Yep.
One mammoth. I think they were crying. Obviously, they're still missing. I don't know if they've all got back together after what happened in the PAV challenge.
Yeah, I hope they find each other again.
I really do. Look, mammoths, you know...
They roam in packs. They're families.
They do roam in packs.
We've seen what happened in Ice Age.
We know. And I feel bad for the mammoths. But there was absolute silence. And then Jeff, from the back, said something that I think we're all thinking.
Yeah.
What the fuck is a Dolrio?
Exactly. Well, we found out.
So Maddie's like, Dolrios. So what they are is, of course, they're pineapple biscuits. With
Dole pineapple biscuits?
Dole pineapple, yeah, but she didn't start with that.
No.
That came on gradually when, remember when she pulled out the whiteboard and, drew a diagram?
Oh, yes.
Because they explained it and they still didn't get it, so they drew a diagram. Mm-hmm. So pineapple biscuits with a chocolate banana ganache inside it. And again, there was bamboozled looks.
Yeah, and the biscuit apparently has a very specific, pattern at the top. But they freestyle, do whatever you want because it's a signature. Yeah,
it was a signature. You had to make these Dolrios your own. And they wanted a stamp on the middle of them that said Dolrio.
Yeah.
Which looked remarkably like the Oreo font.
It did.
But with Dole, obviously.
But Dole.
It was a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
But... Okay, so that was the challenge. Now, Jeff...
And their signature was create a beverage that you could dunk your Dolrio into.
That was the other part of it. So Jeff, to his eternal credit, you had 3 hours to make these, by the way.
Yeah, 3 hours.
So Jeff folded his arms.
Went, fuck this.
I'm not fucking doing it.
I can see what's going on here.
Yeah, I know what this is, and no, I have too much...
I call shenanigans.
I have too much integrity for this. I call shenanigans.
Yeah.
And he did. He walked out, he opened the door and yelled out, shenanigans! Shenanigans!
Bankruptcy!
And the local police came running, because, of course, when you call out shenanigans, it is up to the police to investigate.
Yeah.
So the local constabulary turned up with the camera crew from Police 10-7, and they then had to go because there was a drunk in Waikato.
Yeah.
And so, but they left, so they didn't get to investigate it to the level at which we would have hoped.
Assault.
So we had a couple of people decide to make their own twist on it. Now, we have to start, I think, with Annabelle, who was the most... Well, she was the most confused because she's like...
I have never heard of a Dolrio.
I've read every baking book ever written.
Yes. My mum has, taken me on tours of nearly every bakery in New Zealand to make sure that my baking knowledge is high.
Not once have I ever seen a Dolrio, but they must be really good. I'm going to try to make this. So she stuck to the recipe.
Yeah, she was there making a pineapple bicky.
So she did. Now, just to give you an idea of the method, because we'll go with hers, because everyone else did something weird. Yeah. So just to tell you what Annabelle did, just to give you the idea, she opened the tin of Dole. Mm-hmm. That in itself was a very technical manoeuvre. And then she put the pieces into a blender.
Yeah.
And she pulped the pieces in the blender.
Yeah.
So it was a couple of pulps of that. then the flour and all those things to make like the biscuit dough, obviously. Then rolls it out, and you could see like small chunks.
Yeah.
Apparently that adds flavour.
Yeah, and while she's doing this in the background, we just see Jeff like starting to write. I think
And there's a producer.
Jeff and a producer.
And the producer's like snatching the paper and just pushing him away, going, "You're not my boss." Yeah. And like he's writing this really fervent letter, you can see, and the producer's like, "Give me the pen, Jeff." So Jeff then walked out and sat on the deck of the cabana outside and just furiously wrote. Like he was going for hours.
Yeah.
He came back in 3 or 4 times, and like he actually took the whiteboard where they'd drawn the demonstration, and like he was writing, "This is bullshit," and like just holding it up to the glass. We've never seen a protest like this in Bake Off history. It was incredible. And then we go back to Annabelle because she was making the real ones. Now she got the banana.
Real ones. You say that like it's a real thing.
Again, for what this challenge was, they're the real ones.
Yeah.
Now, she's pulping, again, banana into a mash.
Yep.
And then she got the Donovan's chocolates.
She did.
Because apparently there was a guy from Donovan's there running around offering chocolate to people. Seemed weird. And so they did all that. She made this ganache, and she was
Banana chocolate
furiously working on it. She baked the biscuits. Look, you'll have to get hold of the footage. It was unbelievable.
Stamp in there.
Now, Sonali, for her part, was still just there going, "I've never heard of this."
No.
I know what I do know of.
What?
Oreos.
She does know of Oreos. It's a Dolrio. An Oreo. She goes, "It's my interpretation of a Dolrio." Obviously, that was a New Zealand thing. She goes, "I've had Oreos. Let me do those as my
So she made what looked like
Oreos."
perfect. She even had that, that pattern, the lattice work. She handcrafted, like she had 3 hours, so she had time, but she handcrafted lattice work on every single biscuit.
She spent so much time and
It was
effort
unbelievable.
and energy. Like you could see the muscles in her hands, like just focused on it so much that afterwards she was trembling, like with the effort of it.
It was incredible. Now Stacey, for her part, Stacey decided to make just normal biscuits, but she decided to take this pineapple and this banana, and just do a thin slice.
Yeah.
So rather than a cream or a ganache in the middle,
just a thin slice of pineapple, thin slice of banana,
and stuck them together.
Yeah.
That was her biscuit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the banana started to go a bit brown before serving.
Well, the problem is when you work with the banana that early and you've got 3 hours.
Yeah, you're going to get brown.
Last thing you've got to do with that.
Yeah.
So that
if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down.
Joel had an interesting take. So what Joel did was even more overboard. He took the tin of pineapple rings.
Yep.
Now, this is where we say he's trying desperately to go home.
Yeah.
He got a pineapple ring.
Yep.
He got a full banana, and he got another pineapple ring.
Yeah.
And he just mashed them together. And it was like he was pushing like a button on a quiz show. And it was like production line. It was fing, 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 fing. Then he put it in the fucking oven.
That was brilliant.
And then he pulled them out and dunked them in chocolate.
Looks kind of delicious.
And then put them in the fridge.
Yeah.
It was the most weird. It was hot, then cold, then yes, then no, then in and out, and up and I don't know what he was doing, but I don't.
Looked all right.
The answer, I think, is trying desperately to go home.
Clayton gave it the good old college try, as did Hannah, and
Hannah had an interesting take. Hannah went with banana biscuits.
Yeah, with a pineapple centre, like kind of flipping it on its...
It was a crazy zany.
Crazy.
Now, what we need to really talk about, though, are the drinks.
Because choc pineapple is a bit of an interesting mix.
Because, like, Madeline walked over at one point, and I think it was the conversation she had with Annabelle, where she's saying to Annabelle, so are you a twister or a dunker? And Annabelle's like, these aren't a thing. She said, no, growing up, we always had these.
Yeah.
Are you a twister or a... And Annabelle's like, I assure you, I've been through the archives of New Zealand baking. These aren't a thing. And Madeline's like, no, I guarantee you, I grew up on them. These are my biscuits. And eventually she just walked away disappointed. And Annabelle's just looking at her going, they're not real.
I would know. Don't try to gaslight me.
So the beverage they all made, right? Everyone made something a bit different.
Yeah.
Now, Jeff went with whiskey.
Yep.
And he didn't make it.
No, he's just drinking it.
He just cracked open a bottle of whiskey.
Yep.
And just sat there after he'd finished protesting.
Brooding.
He sat on the bench, cross-legged, with a whiskey in hand, going, nah.
Fuck this.
Fuck this, I'm not doing it. And they're like, you've got to serve something. You go home. He goes, I'll fucking serve something. You'll see. You'll see. I'm not showing you yet, but you'll see. Yes. And downing whiskey. And look, good on him.
Yep.
Clayton.
He served a Milo.
As he should have.
Yeah, just Milo. He's like, yep, this is my beverage of choice. Childhood.
Annabelle was still thoroughly confused.
She just made a cup of tea.
It was a cup of tea, and that was all. She's like, it's a biscuit.
Yeah, it's a biscuit.
I assume a cup of tea will do it.
And that was Hannah's choice. She just went, I'll make coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Joel. I thought Joel was great because Joel, again, trying desperately to go home.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, so he's got his banana, pineapple, baked, then covered in chocolate in the fridge, and he's dunking it in Coca-Cola. It was, what a taste sensation. It was sweeping the nation.
Delightful.
Stacey, by this point, has made a margarita.
Yep.
And, a bit flamboyant. It was a bit out there.
Nice and colourful like she is.
Now the judging of the challenge was...
Sonali made a beautiful long iced tea. Long Island iced tea.
It was... And again, Sonali is just like, I've made an Oreo. Like, it's simple. Now, the judging was all weird because they came up there and they ate as much as they could.
Yeah.
And you could quite clearly see that the judges were even uncomfortable with eating all this food. None of them really wanted to. Like, again, Sue had a look when she ate Joel's, like, I'm doing this as a favour.
Coca-Cola and chocolate.
And then...
with pineapple and banana.
And the last two were Sonali, who came up... Sonali came up second last.
Yeah, with her Long Island iced tea.
And her Oreos.
Yeah.
And Dean told her off.
Yeah.
Was like, you haven't met the brief. These are not Dolrios. These are some inferior brand. Who's ever heard of these knockoffs? And she's like, Oreo is one of the most popular biscuits around the world, Dean. He's like, I've never heard of them. They're not a Dolrio. And like, Sonali looked thoroughly confused.
Yeah.
Like, apparently they tasted, like, from what they described, exactly like a fucking Oreo. Like, who makes their own Oreos that look and taste like the real thing and gets told that's not the brief?
Yeah.
Then they got to Jeff, and I'm like, oh my God, what is Jeff going to do? Like, he hasn't done anything. He's just been, there's a bottle of whiskey's gone. Jeff walked up and just slammed down a tin of Dole pineapple.
It was brilliant. It was just like...
And went, that's a fucking Dolrio. Judge it! Judge it! And you could see them about to lay into him, and then out of the corner of the screen...
Just a producer ran in.
Yeah, and had like a briefcase.
Yeah.
And like whispered something into the judge's ears.
Yeah.
And then you saw Sue sort of go,
okay.
And smile and go, this is one of the greatest things we've ever seen. This is exactly what we were after.
It's pure. It's natural.
You've covered the essence of Dole.
Yeah.
And the essence of food in general. And look, I think New Zealand should be proud of this dish that you've created. It is truly one of the greatest dishes in the history of Bake Off.
A tin of Dole pineapple.
And at that point, Jeff just threw the bottle against the wall and walked out.
He went for a swim.
But this is why Jeff was Star Baker. I mean, obviously the Eiffel Tower, great.
That was great, yeah.
But he it was the tin of Dole pineapple that did it. Yeah. And meanwhile, poor Sonali, it was the making of an actual biscuit as opposed to a Dolrio.
And the judges didn't even note her Long Island iced tea. Like,
no. Again, they didn't spot the booze.
No, they completely missed it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Clayton found it.
Yeah, he was into it. He's like,
boy, did Clayton find it.
He's like, oh, Sonali, I'll offer you some Milo.
Yeah, you want some Milo for that? And she's like, great deal, done.
Yeah.
Because the Milo, of course, goes with the actual Oreo.
Yeah, well, Larissa was smarter. She went and found all the the rest of the bottles of spirit and just started mixing in the corner.
Yeah, exactly. Look, Larissa just sort of... Yeah, she was just like looking for the extra bottles of booze all the way through. I think by the time they finished this challenge, everyone was just looking for alcohol.
Yeah, they knew what was going on.
Everyone sort of worked it out. I mean, Jeff was obviously, we said, parading outside, whiteboard out there with a protest on it, writing. I don't know if he's ever finished the letter.
I also like when they're doing like the cut to camera and everyone's like having their little talk, and he's just got like tape across his mouth.
That was a great moment.
Very, like,
that was a great
Brother
moment.
Merlin.
It was like, no, you can't do that. Free to refugees. His was fuck off doll, but the UCK had dropped off, so it was just F off doll.
Foff doll.
So look, that was an amazing challenge, and
we hope you get to see it one day.
we really hope you do. I mean, look,
We had to sign a non-disclosure. We can talk about it, can't show it.
If you contact us, we might be able to try to burn a copy of the if the DVD player's burner is working.
Yeah.
It might not be, and I also don't know where we buy spare DVDs, to be honest with you, because like everything's digital.
Yeah, well, maybe we can convert it to MP3.
We can try to convert it.
Yeah.
I'll have a go at it.
All right.
I can't see that failing. It's never failed before.
I know.
So that's your lot for
YouTube's.
That's your lot for this week. Next week they're doing pastry. Now, in all honesty,
Yeah.
I'm terrified because these weeks haven't exactly been champagne.
Nah. Well, if they'd at least got a chance to watch that Easter special that we didn't know was going to be on before tonight.
Lifestyle food, a bit of a message. Don't put Paul Hollywood and Mary Berry on before this because Sue and Dean don't stack up very well.
No, they're not even the poor relative.
They don't come out of this very well.
Not in the same dimension.
So that's it for this week.
It is.
Up until next week, which is Pastry Week, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Christy.
And we will catch you all then.
Ciao.